Hello and welcome to Real Hi-Fi Help, a new type of video. I bought a Nissan Leaf and I thought, why not give a proper review that isn't directly connected to a special type of car brand or the local government supporting us using electrical vehicles. I just want to say that this is not a David Icke conspiracy video. This is the truth seen from both sides and the stuff that no one ever talks about, and it just irritated me like hell seeing all of these fake numbers in car magazines, in reviews on the net. Obviously everybody's being paid for telling something that isn't true, so I'm going to do it for the first time. This is the current status up to 2020. Things might change after 2020, but I feel that most people need to get this information because a lot of dealers, a lot of the sellers that are working for dealers don't even know that these things exist. This is like a different reality on a different world that they haven't tuned into, most of them. So what I wish they would have told me when I bought my Nissan Leaf 40 kilowatt battery car. So number one, it was advertised to drive up to 378 kilometers before release date. That was completely wrong. And if you can at all, under normal circumstances, at like a 10-degree Celsius circumstance, drive half of that. That would be pretty impressive. You know, driving the speed limit, driving like a normal car. But when it was released, they changed it to 278 kilometers. Can you believe that? I've never ever seen a thing like that before in the history of mankind. That's just ridiculous. And then when it was out for like, I don't know, a couple of months, the local car magazine tested it where they could apparently get 200 kilometers on a whole battery. I couldn't. And I seriously doubt that those tests that they make are actually done under proper circumstances. I really don't believe those circumstances. I find this actually bigger than the Volkswagen scandal. That's why I wrote that. So the actual range was quite shocking. Using mostly the freeway, highway, whatever you call it, and driving to the maximum of the speed limit that I was allowed, I only got 120 to 160 kilometers with temperatures of 10 to 20 degrees Celsius. I mean, those are pretty decent temperatures, okay? And something else, if you hit a cold wind going directly against the car from the side, and it's around -5 degrees, and you still try to drive the limit, which no people really do. They always drive like 10 or 20 or 30% slower, but I sometimes do. And you have your seats warmer on, air condition, steer warming and all that. You only get like 80 to 100 kilometers on a battery. Why does no car magazine or reviewer ever talk about these kind of things? And this is not because I have a Nissan Leaf. Nissan Leaf aren't the only ones doing this. It's basically most car brands out there, but no one is talking about it. I just find it ridiculous. Okay, yeah, if I only drove 80 kilometers an hour, which is ridiculously slow, like what you drive on your small local roads, like the speed limit there, and it's like what's it called, 30 degrees Celsius, and nothing else is activated in the car, and there's no wind at all, and of course you can get 200 to 250 kilometers on a full battery. But who the hell is going to drive the car like that? I mean, a regular person driving a Nissan Leaf will probably get a bit more than I did. I mean, I got 120 to 160. They'd probably get like 140 to 180 kilometers. And if they're really, like senior citizens and they don't want to change speeds a lot or overtake and stuff like that, they could probably get like 200 kilometers. But 200 kilometers compared to the original 378 kilometers, I mean, that's just mind blowing how different that is. And that's taking into consideration it's still a relatively new car. It's only like 1.5 years old. How the hell is that ethically right advertising that it can go up to 378? I just find that so ridiculous. Now, this doesn't only apply to Nissan cars, like I said before, but basically for most cheaper cars, up to around $100,000 new. I know that Tesla is a special brand, and stuff like this, they're probably better at handling stuff like this, and they've got all kinds of other benefits. But let me just read on. Some very interesting things here. Also very shocking that they don't tell you that these charging standards up to 2020. Like this car here it can usually recharge in different modes using different cables on different standards. And currently 2020, I have to use Clever, which is a decent company. There's Aeon and all kinds of companies like that, and they have 3 available plugs for charging. So imagine you have this car, you have to charge it on one of these things, but if someone's already there, are you going to be able to charge? I mean, there's like, look, it's made so there's room for 3 people to charge at the same time, but you most likely won't be able to charge if someone's already there or 2 cars are already there. You most likely have to wait like 10 minutes or 30 minutes before you can start charging. I mean, how stupid is that? How the hell did the seller who sold me the car never tell me about this? I don't even think he knew about this. When I ordered my Nissan Leaf, I ordered it before it was physically possible to try the car, because I tried the previous Leaf and I was just mind blown how easy it was to drive and silent and how smooth the ride was. And it was just first time I've ever tried an electrical car, so I just bought it. I bought the car without trying it, and I was also skeptical, and I thought maybe 10%, 20% of range, I'll lose that, and so on. But there's just so many things that they don't tell you about. Let me just read on. Like I've written here. So you could, in theory, turn up to one of these places, and you can't really get to another place because you've only got like a couple of percent left on your battery. And you could, in theory, wait like 1 to 2 hours, in theory, before you can start charging. I mean, this is a fast charger in this current age, 2020. If I recharge this car here, this is the older Leaf, sorry, but my car, which is a 40 kilowatt version, if I recharge that from 0 to 100 on a fast charger, the fastest charger that is currently possible, it will still take around 1.5 hours. Okay, it can on a good day only take 35 to 45 minutes, doing from 0 to 80%. And that's okay. I get that. But yeah, let me just read on. And what they also don't tell you is that when you plug your car in and choose to automatic recharge your car, which you are when you are, for example, away from your car. So you're in this situation. You've got this car. Someone else let's say there's a car already recharging. So what you do is you flick your badge and activate your car so it's ready for charging when the other car is not ready. But know this, currently 2020, on Clever and some other electrical companies, if you set your car to get ready to charge um, while waiting for the other car, many of the times this function does not work. It will somehow time out and an error will occur, meaning that someone in the meantime, while you're away from your car, might take the charger and then charge their car so you can't charge. I mean, it's just ridiculous, you know? But okay. It's still relatively new, this technology, so it's obviously going to improve in the future. I just feel that I'm just mind blown. We're talking April 2020, and this problem is still around, and I've had my car for at least 1.5 years. I'm just surprised that no one has ever spoken about this officially. Plus, a new shocker, some cars like the Nissan Leaf can charge from 0 to 100%. Then, when you drive full legal speed in a 10 to 20 degree Celsius environment and do another fast charge when you need to charge again and drive like the full speed again, the batteries, and this is particular with the Nissan Leaf currently 2020, the battery gets so hot, so you have to forget about driving 400 to like 1,000 kilometers of distance every day while doing fast charging. It's just time wise, it's almost it is totally impossible, really. Uh, just 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 listen to a couple of things that I experienced here. Unless you drive really slow and recharge from 0 to 80% and have a 1 hour break before using the car again, only then is it possible. But just think about that. Time wise, you are lucky if you can at all in one day, if you use all of your time, get up to 400 kilometers in a day. It just doesn't quite add up time wise, because the Nissan cars aren't properly cooled. I mean, this isn't a problem for 99.9% of the population, because most people only drive like 20, 40, 50, maybe even 100 kilometers on a day, and fine. This car will serve most of those people, but I'm not most people. I'm one of those few people who actually drive a lot in a day, and typically when I went to work, I would drive 280 kilometers in a day, and for that to be possible, I would have to recharge at around, after having driven around 135 kilometers at work, because I was lucky to have a charger and a fast charger at work, and then I could, after 8 hours, actually using the slow charger, I would have like 90-95% on my battery, and I would be able to go home. But that's because it's had a lot of time to do a slow recharging, and so that makes it possible. But I mean, still, it's 2020. People can't dedicate their lives and then have a company that they're working for have a decent setup like I did. But yeah, that's just me. Yeah, and like I wrote here, some very interesting things. But I mean, I would often, the last half year, I would often, because I drive pretty fast. I drive fast, okay? I would often, when I got to these fast charges, I would recharge my car for around like 95% or something like that. And then I would drive home, really fast. But then I would get these these red lights saying, "Ooh, slow down, battery too hot," and so on, so on. And there was only like 10, 15 degree days. I even encountered this problem on a 5 degree warm day. Celsius warm day. It's just ridiculous. I also paid for the extra added warm pump device. How the hell is that working? I really feel bad for the people who bought a Nissan Leaf who didn't get the added warm pump feature. They're screwed if they're going on long trips on vacation. But yeah, you get what you pay for, and that's that. I mean, Tesla are obviously. I'm just gonna read here. Um, like, why not buy a Tesla that can give you a charger status? So you're in the car, you're around, let's say 10 or 20%, and you want to figure out where can you recharge, what place is available so you can recharge without having to wait for the cars. And like I wrote here, positive things about Tesla. I mean, they're nice, they're luxurious, they're really good and big, and they have some good and big efficient batteries. But charging, yeah, charging stands usually charge around 70 to 120 kilowatts, and sometimes up to 250 kilowatts for a short period of time. Usually when it's up to around 50% battery, if at all that capacity is there, which it usually isn't. Okay, so currently charging a Tesla with a 75 kilowatt battery in 2020. Um, if you're lucky, you can get up to 50%, from 0 to 50% in 10 to 15 minutes. I've seen that on some videos on YouTube. So that's cool. I wish that my car could do that, and that's with a bigger battery. Um, but from 0 to 100 can still take about an hour. And I would say it could actually take a bit more. Maybe 1.5 hours on a Tesla 3 under normal bad conditions, from 0 to 100. Um, and the Nissan Leaf 2.0 4 kilowatts that I got takes about 40 minutes to do from 0 to 70%, and 1 hour and 30 minutes for around 95%. Um, so that's obviously why you would go for a Tesla. And in regards to that one thing, Tesla is obviously better. And Tesla also has great features, at least 20 extra features, and they have like really fast cars, a lot faster than Nissan. But I don't feel in any way that my Nissan is slow or that I'm lacking more power. Not at all. I'm really happy about having purchased my Nissan. I was just a bit disappointed on a very few amount of points and yeah, features. Now, why I would not buy a Tesla? The dark side that no one talks about. This is me personally, my opinion about Tesla. What I've heard from Tesla owners and what I've seen looking at some videos on YouTube. So there's too many features, which means that Tesla will always be the highest maintenance car. And this is cool when it's covered by the warranty. But what happens when that expires, you then basically have a car that still is owned by Tesla, meaning that you have to pay for the parts through Tesla and only they can repair it. That's ridiculous. Have you ever heard of a car brand that does this, that isn't a super high performing sports car? This is just ridiculous. This is like McLaren insanity. And this means that repairing costs will be sky high. So, and I don't really get why no one is really covering this on YouTube, I don't really get it. It's almost as if Tesla are paying everybody in the world to be a Tesla fanboy, just like the Apple fanboys. Why aren't more normal people talking about this? Is it because We haven't gone past those, I don't know, 5 years of warranty or whatever that there is on a Tesla car. More people should be talking about this. What happens when the Tesla warranty expires and you, with your own money, have to pay for that and have Tesla repairing your car? Do you want to pay, like here, like I wrote here? Do you want to pay like $1,000 to $2,000 just to get a door handle fixed? I don't think that normal people would want to do that. And I think that a lot of people, like with the Apple brand, don't really realize that when you're buying a Tesla, you're basically setting yourself up for only having a car for around 5 years. Where previously, when we bought cars in the past, like 20 years ago, we would have a car usually for 9 or 10 years. And some people would be very good at driving their car and do some good maintenance, and they would probably get like 12, 13, maybe even 15 years out of their car. And before that, like 25, 30 years ago, some people would even get around 20 years on their car. But those days are over. You know, people have to know this. The more features that you have in a car, the more likely you will not be getting that. You won't be keeping that car for a long time, and it just frustrates me that everybody keeps talking about features. Ooh, you can open its trunk. Ooh, you can control it via remote via your app. Yeah, let me just get into that thing. Um, so just to put it into some perspective, I know a couple of Leaf owners who've had their car for 8 years, around that time, and in that time, nothing at all has failed. I repeat, nothing at all. But the Tesla owners uh, almost have something like 20 errors in at least the first couple of 1 to 3 years. I mean, that just tells you that there's a lot of bugs that get fixed, and they do get fixed with these updates. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Tesla updates are seriously good. I just think it's kind of annoying. Um, I don't even know if I covered this previously. Oh yeah, yeah. Um, so just imagine owning a Tesla, having to change a simple thing like a door handle. Most cars that would only cost you like $100 to $200 to fix that. With a Tesla, expect it to cost $1,000 to $2,000. Plus, when everything is monitored through a screen and the screen suddenly turns off or has an error, you can't even see how fast you're going or control anything, which is a safety issue. Again, the screen controls everything in a Tesla 3. So if you destroy it or it has an error, your air condition does not work. Um, that's pretty serious, you know. Um, but okay. And the fact that no one is talking about Tesla cars, that they are constantly connected to the internet, so you don't have any privacy. Again, why aren't normal people that are reviewing Tesla talking about this feature? Why do you have to list to get this news only if you're a hardcore Linux safety security nerd? You know, why are you only getting that piece of crucial information through those channels? You know, luckily I know someone who's working in security, who's in the Linux world, and that's how I know, you know. But I would never have known this one thing if it wasn't for that guy. And another thing, Tesla cars are constantly. I already said that. Sorry. I tried once from home. Once, yeah, once a single day. I tried once from home, not being able to charge my cars for like 12 hours, because the charging internet service was down. Okay, I called the support team, and they told me that yeah, they haven't really experienced this before, but apparently, uh, the system that approves of you charging your car, that apparently is down, some kind of internet based GPS service. Um, so there was like 12 hours where I couldn't use my car. Luckily, that happened in the weekend, but oh my God, if that had happened just before I had to go to work, I would not have been able to go to work. Um, and I would have to call in sick. I mean, that's just crazy. That's just crazy. But okay. Um, Stuff like that happens. It only happened once in 1.5 years, and yeah, um, yeah, and this thing here. Plus, if there's an issue and everything is online, in theory, you could be hacked while driving the car. Like what the hell? And the self-driving parking feature could also cause a potential amount of road accidents. And we've seen those accidents on the news. When people when you give people a a possibility of the car driving you, you will at some point take that for granted, and you will some few people will probably get into serious trouble because of that. And is that really worth it? I don't think it is. Um, so now, if you want a luxury Tesla type of car that is most likely going to be a car that you drive um, for 5 to 15 years without a problem, then I suggest getting something like a Ford Mustang electrical vehicle for around the same price. For maximum reliability, I suggest using a Nissan Leaf. It is currently the most reliable electrical vehicle on the market. And having driven a lot of cars, I can predict that a normal Nissan Leaf will only cost around, this is just me guessing, around $1,000 to $3,000 in the first 10 years maintaining it. That's of course excluding that you have any accidents. Okay, but those are maintenance costs basically, and that a car like a Tesla 3 or a Hyundai Kona will most likely cost $8,000 to $25,000 in repairs when the warranty expires, and you're going 5 to 10 years into the future. So that means it's 5 years old. You're going 5 years into the future, so it's 10 years old, or it's 5 years old and you're going 10 years into the future, which makes it 15 years old. Okay. Um, so if you drive short distances and want an electrical vehicle that's going to last 10 to 15 years, that's my alarm. Sorry. I suggest you get a Nissan Leaf.